Task 2 is a string handling task that involves reading in 4 different values from the user and then echoing them back in a particular structure. So this is going to require us to import the scanner class. So we're going to be setting up a scanner variable, and I'm just going to go ahead and write in the code even though it hasn't been imported yet. And then I should be able to use the IDE to help me here. So if I go to the red arrow and it says add an import for java.util.scanner, it will put it in for me up at the top to save me having to type it. I'll just put a little comment here to say this is for user input. Okay, one of the beauties of using an IDE like NetBeans is that it can assist you in little moments like that where you've overlooked an import. Okay, having imported it and built a scanner variable, we're now free to go ahead and use it to proceed with the work of the task itself. So we're going to begin by creating 4 different variables, all 4 of them string variables. There's one called title, and then there's one called forename, and then there's one called surname, and then there's one called company. In all 4 cases, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be doing keep.next line. And again, the ID, well, let's see, it's taking its time there. If I restart it, I wonder will it speed things up? Nope, it's not going to help me today. It's just being a bit sluggish. So here we go. And then I can use the arrows to do that. Okay, so keep.nextLine can now be copied and pasted into each of these individual lines. What I can then do prior to inviting the user to type in their title is prompt them and tell them what it is that I would like them to provide. Enter your title. Let's leave a space after the colon so that there is a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to take out the ln because I don't want it to take a new line. I would like the prompt and the typing in of the data to appear on the same line. For the same reason, I'm going to spread these out so that there are little blank lines in between, just to aid readability. And then I can use copy and paste to save me doing a little bit of typing here. So let's take a copy, paste, like that. Alright, so having read in from the user all of the different values, we now just have to construct this into the name badge format. So we could use sort of different strategies here, but I'll just proceed with one of them. So perform output now, and what I'm going to do is set up a system.out.println which will output the person's title, initial and surname, and then I'll set up a separate print line statement for the outputting the company. To be honest, we're just going to be echoing back the company on the second line, so that one's kind of easy. On the first line, however, we first of all want to output the title, followed by space character, followed by, in this case we want the first initial. Now I'll push this down onto a new line just to aid readability again. So what we're going to do is we're going to say forename.charat, and if I just press enter there, and the IDE will help me, and I'm going to leave a space after the forename as well. And finally then I need a plus here to join that on to the space. Similarly, I need a plus here to join on the entire surname, and that should be the task finished. So let's see, we've set up our scanner. So the first block of the program is just reading in the inputs, and finally it's performing the output in the form of a name badge. So let's save it and let's run this. I'm going to use Shift and F6 in NetBeans in order to run it directly on the output screen. So it asks us to enter the title. Let's say it's Mrs. Fiona Sharp from Apollo College Limited. There we go. That's it. Subtle differences that you could do here are you could invent a variable called initial. So in this case you could say identify the initial, and you could build a string variable or even a char variable called initial, and you could set it to be forName.char at 0, and it's actually going to have to be a char variable because that will give you back the character in string format. And then it's perfectly okay to use concatenation in Java to concatenate a character to a string directly. That's absolutely fine. And in some ways, some would argue that would aid the readability of the program because you can see exactly what's being joined together there. One final tip about using the NetBeans IDE is you can right click and say format and then let it make decisions about the layout. If your spacing or use of gaps between pluses and equal signs and so on is a bit messy, you can let the IDE tidy it up for you.